So I have been a busy bee all afternoon, and I have been sorting out and actually putting some stuff away. One thing I haven't mentioned is about the shelf. James and I decided yesterday that, I don't know, it just looks nicer without the shelf. I don't know if it's coming across on camera at all, but this is quite a narrow space. I think that table's 2 meters. Hang on a sec, let me go measure it before people ask. Yeah, so this whole, the width of the Nook, if you like, is 2 meters 20. So it's not incredibly wide. And James wisely pointed out as well that having something dark over there stopped the light bouncing around, because obviously the window is this side, and so the white walls really help everything bounce around. Yeah, I could paint the little shelf white, but I still think it sort of makes it feel narrower. And when I was actually standing here as if I was working with the brown thing there, it just, yeah, it seemed to sort of be quite loud and infringing on my space. So it's not there for now, which doesn't mean that we can't change our mind. And that's the beauty of it, isn't it? Yeah, I've moved some stuff onto the top. And this shelf here, James's fantastic idea, just to lift things off the desk, is, yeah, life-changing shelf. It really is. And I'll give you a little desk tour in this video in a minute. I'm just going to literally put the last bits and bobs away. I've got a couple of trays. I think this is the last tray of stuff. I've got a couple of bits of bobs trays up there, which I'm going to keep, and down here. I'll show you that in a minute when I do a little desk tour. So I'm just going to finish up. I still don't know quite where a couple of things are going to go, but I'll show you that in a minute. So I think I explained before that I like to work ergonomically, in the sense that I want it to be a working space. And in order to do that, I need to get myself in a bit of a pickle, in a bit of a mess, if you like, to work out what I actually want to do with the space. I think I'm kind of ready, well, I know I am, because I've felt it sort of in the last few weeks, to actually put a few things in situ. I know my space well enough to know how the light works, and, you know, whether or not I need certain items nearby and other things, you know, further away. So it's pretty clear now what I need and what I don't need. Yeah, the other thing now as well, like I explained, sorry if I look a bit sort of sweaty and hot, but I am sweaty and hot because it is quite hot. But anyway, I have actually been working really, really hard, so I'm quite proud of myself because I've got a backache and lady pains and things like that. So, but it has been really joyful and fun, and I've really, yeah, had loads and loads of energy for this, because it's going to be so nice when I get back from my little camping trip, my little hollybobs, in a week's time, because I go on Sunday, so I've got 2 more sleeps till I go, and I'm really excited. So probably by the time you watch this video, I will be sat on a beach on my little beach chair, hopefully reading my book, having enough energy this time to read my book. So if you saw the last video, you'll have seen that my first attempt at having a little hollybobs camping van trip was a bit of a disaster, a complete failure, in fact. Anyway, let's get back to this, and give me 5 minutes, 2 minutes even, and then I will give you a little desk tour of my bits and bobs for journaling, my little journaling Nook setup, which has been a long time coming, so sorry about that. So let's have a quick look round then. So we've got top shelf up there, and then obviously we've got all that there, and then a little look underneath as well. So if I start underneath first and just sort of tell you what's under there, because I am utilising a little bit of storage space just for some random items as well. We do, don't we, when we've got small spaces and we've got a lot of stuff, and it's a lot of stuff that I need to keep. So in the boxes just behind the stool, let's have a look. There's 2 very large plastic bins, and that is recycled packaging materials. So I've kept hold of that because it's really useful for wrapping canvases and paintings up for posting. So that's all you know, stuff that I can reuse. So I keep all that, and I've got some more, in fact, in other areas of the studio as well. But it's tucked out the way. It's not going to infringe on my leg space or anything like that. So it's fine there for now. And maybe that gets moved, you know, on another fine tuning day. I don't know. And then I've got 3 other plastic bins. And in there, I can just show you a little bit better like that. If I move the stool out the way. Yeah, there's collage materials in all 3 of those. And I need to go through those at some point and chuck a lot of stuff in the recycle bin because I don't use it. I don't rummage through all of it. So some of it can go, so I can, yeah, definitely let some of that go. And also I might change the way I store my collage stuff because I don't really like the plastic bin. So maybe I'll have some kind of drawers that slide under here or something like that, some kind of storage unit. But that is tucked away there for now, and it's really handy because it's tucked down there. It's right where I need it, where I'm going to be sat journaling. So yeah, love having it all in a stash ready to go. And then every desk needs a good chair, so I'm utilising the desk chair that I use for the Oval Office. It's on wheels. If you've seen my videos over the last few weeks, you'll have seen that I collected that from secondhand from Facebook Marketplace. James found it for me, and it's really, really awesome. It's not quite perfect, but it's really comfy and it works for me. And the height's adjustable, and so I can just wiggle that from, you know, from one side of the room over there and just wiggle it basically over there. So I might at some point invest in another chair because it might be quite handy because it is quite heavy. Maybe another chair would be quite nice for ease to have one in the Oval Office and one over here, or maybe, you know, one at the in the wet area indeed. But yeah, for now it works fine. And yeah, I'm really happy to sort of share the chair, if you like. And sometimes I stand up and work over here. Sometimes I use the stool and put a cushion on it. So yeah, it's absolutely fine. I always like to see what's in everybody's nooks and crannies, if that makes sense. So I will endeavour to show you without taking too long, though I don't want to, you know, waffle on for too long. But yeah, I do like seeing people's bits and bobs. And so I will, yeah, I'll open things up and let you know what's what. And I know that this basket, and there's another basket over there, which is actually supporting this shelf. We know that we could turn those round and, you know, that we could store stuff. And I do eventually want to get some old bricks to prop that shelf up instead of the baskets. But for now, I'm going to utilise those baskets just to hold the shelf up. So therefore, I haven't got used to the fact that it's going to be storage, because once I get the bricks, obviously, it's not going to be storage. So I didn't want to get used to storage being there and then lose that later on. So that's why I've done it like that. But I have obviously utilised underneath. So right in the corner here then, in that brown box, I have got my bookmaking stuff. It's just when we made journals around Christmas, New Year, it's all that kind of stuff. And I put that there because it kind of extends the shelf, and it means I can plonk my big fat kitchen roll, which is really, really handy, and some wet wipes, cheapy budget wet wipes, just at the end. And then I've got these drawers. James found these the other day in a charity shop, and it didn't quite work for the job that he wanted. So he said to me, would I like them? And aren't they gorgeous? So I thought, what a perfect little storage solution for art journaling fodder, or treasure, as I like to call it. So in this top drawer, I have got some artist trading cards and also some little journaling sheets. So little sheets of paper that I can write on. And that's all that's in the top drawer. And then the next drawer is, this was a little art journaling treasure stash that I made when we made the handmade journal. So if you go back to videos, I think it'll be in the art journaling playlist anyway, but I made a load of basic journal fodder, if you like, treasure. And so I just put that in that drawer, and I thought it's more accessible than having it stashed away in a box somewhere. So for example, the collage boxes that are underneath. And then in here I've got my sort of miniature journals that I'm sort of part way through making. Yeah, a couple of miniature journals that I've been playing with, really easy ones. And yeah, the wishing fairy as well. So just a couple of miniature journals. And I am going to publish a version of this. I'm just working on that at the moment. So I've got a couple of ideas of what I want to do with that. So watch this space for that. And then in the bottom drawer, I've kind of got some quotes, prompts. I've got loads of these and I need a little place to put them, if you like. So something wonderful and magical is about to happen. Are you ready? Okay, I think I am. So that's what's in there. And then in the tin, let's just take the lid off. I've had this old tin for so long. All my distress inks and some more ink pads and stuff to do with, yeah, that. So I do use those quite a lot, but I want those quite handy. So here I've got a stash of journals and sketchbooks and altered books that I've been making. So this is a brand new A4 Moleskine that I've not used yet. These are some composition writing books. I've then got the handmade journal that we made in another video. And I've got 2 journals here. These are, I think they're Peter Pauper Press, and these are my writing journals. So there's this one, and then I've also got, I got gifted a new one as well a few months ago. So I've had this a few months, but I'm still working in this one that my mum got me. So I kind of got gifted both of those, which is really special. So once this one's full, I've then got my next one to work in, which is really nice. And then I've got some sketchbooks, and that's my other Moleskine that, again, I was kindly gifted. So thank you very much as well for that. There's not much in this one yet, so that's handy, ready to work in. What else have I got going here? I've got a little bit of resources for source material and inspiration, and then a couple of the altered books that I've been working on, which I work on these over quite a long period of time, so you might not have seen those before. And then another few sketchbooks and resources and another altered book that I've been working on. And then along a bit, I've just kind of propped up a few drawings and a few sketchbooks, and I've got my Degas book, so I've got inspiration and, yeah, my very well loved art journal there. And then next I've got all my inks and my dipping utensils, so sharp things, and a lovely glass pen that was a gift, really lovely gift. And that kind of rests on a little thing there, so I put that with that. And also those are all sharp together, which is very useful for me because I'm, yeah, a little bit accident prone, shall we say. Water spray, all my inks. I need to go through these actually because some of them are empty. But anyway, I'll sort through fine-tuning parts another day. And then I've got a couple of jugs, and they are my sort of water-soluble crayons. And I don't have many of those. If I move that and zoom you in, you can see there's a little flowery jug and a spotty jug. Those are Inktense pencils in the flowery jug, and then watercolour pencils in the spotty jug. And yeah, I don't have many, so I just put what I had in there. And then I've got some watercolour brushes, and that's a new pot with some new pencils, and those are the Derwent Polychromos that I've been really excited to try for a long time. So on the way back from our camping trip last time, we passed an art shop and I went in and treated myself to those and a few other bits and bobs as well, so that was really nice. And then at the end, right in the corner, I've got what I've been talking about, which is how I like to organise all my pencils. I've got a lot of pencils. I've got the Prismacolor set, I've got the Caran d'Ache Luminance set, and I've also got now some of the Polychromos. So I'm kind of keeping the pencils separate because they have different qualities. I really, really love keeping sets of pencils that I've been, you know, enjoying the colour combinations on. So for example, what I mean, this tray down here with the Caran d'Ache, I could put them away and I could put them, you know, back into the Caran d'Ache box. So this is a prized possession that I treated myself to last year. I really have had this on my wish list for so many years. It's a beautiful set of Swiss pencils. They're absolutely gorgeous. The pigments are amazing. And they're also very soft as well. You know, these are light fast. They are very intense, bright pigments, really concentrated. And you get a lovely smooth covering power as well. I really, really adore them, and I'm still getting to know them. So I've got lots of trays of those. And so what I needed, instead of having them tucked away on my art trolley, which you may have seen in a previous video, but I just need a spot for them where it's really, really handy. So as I've explained many times, I don't want to put all my stuff away. I really like it completely accessible, so I can just grab what I need, and I haven't got to rummage in drawers and, you know, move something to get at something is basically what I really don't like doing. So I think that's sort of post van life, if you like. You've got something stored somewhere and you really have to move something to get at it. So I've got plenty of, little trays of bits and bobs. I divided and conquered, and I categorized everything. So I've got random pens that I've been using, keeping those. I could again put them all away, but you know, those are the ones I've been using, so I'm gonna, you know, honor that and keep them out. I've got graphite, this lovely set from Faber-Castell, and then other graphite pencils as well. So I was kindly gifted that when the first lockdown hit, so that I treasure them, and I like to see what I've got, because otherwise I forget, so I can see everything I need. And then in these two bins here, I've got another selection and another colour scheme, if you like, I was working at for a different set of fairies. So I've kept those all together, and you know, some of them are Prismacolors, some of them are Derwent. And then in here I've put pencil sharpeners and erasers, so you know, I know where they are because I'm always losing and not being able to find those. So I thought, right, I'll have a spot. And in actual fact, that's not all my pencil sharpeners and all my erasers. I haven't found them all yet. So as I do, I've now got a spot for them. So that's amazing. So next you'll see I've got my jars and palettes and a place for my brushes with some rags. So I know how I paint. I'm left-handed, so I like it, you know, that way round. This is really handy. I've been working with the water there because I can, you know, dip my brush, and then I usually have a rag on the corner here as well, and then I've got everything really ergonomic and easy, and I don't even have to think about it. And if I keep my water in the same place, I tend to get to know, you know, where my water is and where my coffee cup is, or my teacup. And also it stops spillages. So yeah, spillages can be a disaster, can't they? When you're spilling them on your artwork and things like that. So yeah, being quite a clumsy person, that helps me a lot. And also because I'm working on this drawing board that James gave me years ago, I love this drawing board so much. It's so handy as well. Really, really useful for so many different things. This drawing board is a real space saver, and it, as you can see, it adds a little ledge to keep those jars of water safe. That's how I've been working here, and I know I wanted a bit more room, so I'm not quite sure what's going to be happening with a couple of things on the end there, because I'd quite like to clear that, but that's enough room for me to come in after my break and yeah, come back to the studio and start working straight away, which is really nice. And obviously I'm working on Fairy Grace, so she's down here, and then I've got the current things I'm working on, my current body of work, which is the Echo Fairy and all the different versions of her I've been doing. And then I've also been doing getting back into my faces. That's an older one. That one needs finishing. It's been percolating a long time. She's nearly finished, but not quite. And then some new faces that I've been working on. And then I've got some, like I say, some sketches about as well, which, you know, helps to keep my creative juices flowing. So if I just wiggle those over here, and then you can see I can easily get access. So usually my paints live over in my wet area, but you know, quite often I do have the odd tubes of paint which I'm using over here. So I thought I'll have a space for those, and then I'm always looking for colours and where did I put that paint tube. So I didn't need a very big container for paints because I store my paints. I'll do a studio tour in a few weeks and then you can see properly where everything is, but I needed a kind of smaller storage for those. And then in this little basket, I actually got these baskets from a second-hand shop, so I was so pleased, and I haven't cut the prices off yet then. So this one was 50p, and how much was this one? 75p. So I need to, yeah, cut the prices off these, but so fantastic. And, you know, not loving the fact that I've got these plastic trays, but I will reuse them, and they are very handy, and they were really, really budget. So I am, yeah, enjoying having some more natural things as well. And in here I've got some sort of journaling things that I use all the time, some washi tape and sparkles and things like that. Also here I've got something I don't use that much in actual fact, but I've got a little stash of, very budget actually, they're only about £8 for all of those, but it's my little gouache collection which I like to use and dip into for my art journals. And I've also got the colour chart for the Daniel Smith watercolours, which I've recently invested in, so I just want to study that a little bit as well, so I've kept that handy. And again, that just slides back over there. Let's put our water back. So I do have to move a couple of things sometimes, but that's okay, it's not hugely a problem. And then in this basket here, I've got art supplies basically. I've got a little tray of pens, which is really, really handy because I'm always saying, where's my pens? I have got some new watercolours that I bought from the little art shop I was telling you about on the way back from my holiday. So I'll write up there what these are called. I think it's Cosy, Nook. Really budget, but I really love them. Really great for art dates. I've had this set for years and it's still going strong. And so when I used to run an art class, there was a lady in there called Sarah, and she would go to the art shop down in Brighton on the coast and she'd buy a load of these for me. And so I'd buy them off her and sell them to the students in the art class because we all fell in love with them. And of course, little palette as well. So it's so good for taking on an art date or plein air painting. What else is in here? So I've got my new Daniel Smith watercolours. I have got my Winsor and Newton Cotman set, my old faithfuls, so that was bought for me as a gift, a lovely gift from one of the parents of the children that was in my very first class, so it's a real treasure. And that's the colour swatch from there. That's an old set of James's, and there's a couple of other sets as well. And with my Daniel Smith set, I'm really excited by this, which I'm sure you can understand the realms of possibilities. But my set came with a special deal, special offer of a free empty. So that all goes in here and just, yeah, tucks away. Kind of, yeah, just put my pens in there as well, just to keep something else out of the way. And then, yeah, empty basket. And then there's two baskets right at the end in the blue. One's full of pens, so pens that I don't really use. Some of them are water-based, quite fun for journaling, so it's quite nice to dip into here and there. And then this is some of my stamping resources. So they're just sort of in there. I don't use those that often either, but nice to have for journaling. And then I've got a random bits and bobs box for journaling. Yeah, you can see glue, scissors, clips, washi tape, other tape, my corner cutter, tissues, you know, any bits and bobs. I love bits and bobs baskets. So again, this basket cost me, how much was this one? This was £1, so I need to take the labels off. Anyway, let's get rid of that one. Then we've got a basket and a tray. And this is just how I keep out what I'm utilising. So it might be some source material, you know, some maybe colour palettes that I've pulled out of a magazine. It might be some journaling I've been typing out or writing out, or some journaling prompts. So it really, you know, it could be anything in here. I've got a roll of parchment tracing paper, which is always useful, and various other bits and bobs of paperwork that I'm using at the moment. I've got some pressed flowers, which were from the garden when I used to own a house before we went travelling. I've got all sorts of treasures, which I've discovered as I've been going through my stuff, and I really want to, you know, remember what I've got so I can use it. And then underneath the basket, I've just got my more parchment paper, and I've also got a clipboard. I like to kind of keep some source material or inspirations that I've been using, so maybe a portrait that I've been drawing and things like that, and I keep them all on my clipboard so that I know where they are really quickly. So that's that basket. And then my sister bought me this, which is Follow Your Dreams, and my mum made this. It was actually a little heart she sewed onto a bag she made me, and it fell off during travel, so I've had it tied onto here safely. And then in this tray, nice wooden box, this, I think this was from a charity shop a long time ago, and I really love it because it fits in my bigger drawing paper. So this is my Strathmore, and again I've got, you know, bits and bobs of paperwork, tissue that I've been you know, using, that I want to keep hold of. writing bits and bobs. That was sort of for the art journaling project we've been doing in the last week. Yeah, I've got it all together, and yet it's neat and tidy, and it's organised enough for me to be able to, you know, work. And it's not everywhere. So it's kind of a place for it where I can very quickly rummage and access what I need. So I really, really like using those. This is a nice big square basket, which I got from a car boot sale ages ago. So if you've watched the last few videos, you may have seen the wall. The wall has grown quite a lot, and yeah, it's kind of spreading out over here. So you might remember I had a couple of larger canvases which I moved, kind of with a plan to maybe put a little shelving unit up, which I showed you earlier in the video. And so now, you know, this wall is now sort of infringing on this side, which I really like. So it's creating this kind of real nice nook corner thing. And I need all that out. I need my current body of work, my projects out, so that I can kind of feel my way into what I'm in the mood for that day. I can percolate whenever I'm having a cup of tea. It's all accessible to my eyes, if you like, and I don't have to rummage through everything. It's a really good way to store things. And, you know, there are ways of taping things up so that you can be really careful with the paper and things like that, with the things you're precious about. So, and I've also got a few postcards. I've got my fairy crown up there. I enter fairy tale realm when I'm in here. I really love that kind of magical quality and that feeling I get when I come in this space. So that's what I'm trying to evoke. And I've got some flowers that I put in my hair, colour stuff, colour wheel and colour stuff, and I've also got a grayscale value finder, a couple of quotes that I've handwritten and found, and all sorts of stuff. So it's growing, and you'll see there's plenty of space for me to grow further as well. So I haven't filled every nook and cranny. There's space for everything to breathe, and also for me to make additions. So the last little bit to show you is the top shelf, and there's not much up there. These are some art journals and also a couple of books that I don't dig into very often, but I want to keep. They're very old art journals. Even the first one right at the beginning of my art journaling process, way back in around probably 2009 when I started art journaling properly. I've always kept a diary and journaled and sketched and things like that, and I've done a lot of sketchbooks. So some really old journals there. There's probably more to add to that pile as well. And as you can see up here as well, I've also got some spaces. I've plonked that tray up here and show you. Oh, it's alphabet set of stamps and some wooden stampers and more Indian wooden stampers and some inks. So I don't use that very much, so I've sort of stashed that for now up there just to clear some desk space. And then we're almost there now, so you'll see the vintage suitcase that I picked up last couple of weeks ago on my last trip away from a lovely antique second-hand shop. A real bargain of a £5. So over the next few weeks, over the coming weeks, we'll see what we do with that, and I will share with you on here because I've got a couple of ideas for that suitcase, and so I'll share in here anything I do. That'll be a really fun project. And then up there's a basket of like ribbon and lace and stuff that I use as ties in, you know, in my journaling, but again, I don't use that very often, so I don't need it on the desk. And then here I've got my stash of, it's like a expanding folder full of postcards that I've had for years and years and years, and yeah, it's very sentimental. So I've got all those up there. And then I've got 3 or 4, maybe 5 books that I've had since I was a child that my mum got me that inspired me in my artwork when I was really, really little. So those are really special. And obviously the journals as well. So there's a lot of, you know, my history here. And then of course we've got a plant baby who's having babies. So, and a whole readjustment of the fairy lights so we don't have the flicker going on. And there we go, that's the view. So hopefully that gives you a good idea of what I've got going on. And I will let you know any tweaks and things that I make, but I'm pretty happy with that because I know it's going to work ergonomically. I know it's got the right stuff and the right bits and bobs for me because that's the stuff that's been out there being utilised. All those kind of decisions are made. It was just a case of like you know, where's it going to go? I do get asked quite a lot on the YouTube and in the Patreon about how I organise my art supplies. And so this is a really good example of what I do with the trays, with the divide and conquer. So grouping things in categories, setting up ergonomically. I'm obviously left-handed, having different options as well, because I can take that drawing board away very easily and work on another project. You know, that drawing board can be covered with art supplies and bits and bobs, and I can literally just pick it up and I've got space. So that's really good in a small space, which is how I was using it when I was in the van. That came with me in the van and it was really good. And then I've also got, you know, some really nice inspiring, some of my work, some work that's not mine, pre-Raphaelite things that I love, works in progress, some source materials, and, you know, all sorts of things I can add to make it what I wanted here to be an inspiration board. Yeah, so I feel like very excited to come in and have a play here, because that's what it's all about, isn't it? Having a good play. But I want the holiday first, obviously. So as always, thanks so much for watching and keeping me company. I hope you enjoyed this little peek into my creative space and my art journaling nook as it evolves and changes, and I adapt it to make it really work for me. Hopefully you're a bit inspired to maybe tidy up your space or create a different space or organise things a little bit differently so that the space works better for you and you can actually spend more of your time creating instead of trying to find things, which is what I tend to do. I end up losing something really vital and then I waste a load of time because I can't find it. So hopefully, fingers crossed, I can keep it all tickety-boo. So I will leave you in peace for now. Try to keep your lights shining bright and I will see you in the next one. Bye for now. Mwah.
Gravel road, I've been asked to slow down. Fireplace, do you know how? Piles of paper, my desk is out.